Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Summer of Saturn. This week we are watching the Valentine's Day edition of UK All Day. I like this one. Valentine's Day is also my favorite holiday because it's my birthday. Enjoy this. I love watching Jill and Tony, and I know you will too. Talk to you soon.
Hey there, Internet, and welcome to UK All Day, the consistently inconsistent chat show about everything British, where we learn by speaking with actual Brits. And sometimes we do that via a live stream takeover, as we're doing right now, with the enthusiastic blessing and consent of Rebecca Gunter, who's letting us broadcast during the time slot for her weekly show, The Stoned Fruit Roll-Up, where she hosts a YouTube show documenting the process and experience of increasing her business visibility by learning to live stream, with an emphasis on teaching folks how to build an alluring, robust brand for your business by working with them to identify and manifest their professional value. It's a great show. Smash that like and subscribe. You can catch me in the comments. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, and I wanted to talk with a Brit about how they do Valentine's Day and all kind of things related to love. And I really dug deep. I went to oh my gosh, so part of my research was I typed Valentine's Day in the UK and hit news in Google and found stuff over 40 pages of news articles and all kinds of stuff in history. And a lot of questions that I have. I want to know why the Brits do some of the interesting and funny things that they do. So with that, why don't we bring on our designated Brit who loves to Brit, Jill Noakes. Hey, Jill.
Hi, Tone. It's
Great
good to
be
be
with
back.
you again. Sure is. So, okay, how was your Valentine's Day?
It was good. I mean, pretty low key. I'm not a massive Valentiner.
Yeah, really, what's the story there?
Do you know what? It's like I don't like being told that on this one day of the year we have to all proclaim our undying love for each other, but only on that one day. Also, I hate the fact that you can't get a dinner reservation anywhere for love nor money, and unless you're super organized, which I'm not. So it's like, yeah, we're definitely not eating out that night. And also, well, I will share a quick story of why this year was slightly uncomfortable for me around how I've kind of forgot to go and get anything for Dave. And then he very specifically went out and got me beautiful flowers, just over there, and a gorgeous card.
What does it mean that it's a gorgeous card? Was it a sincere card?
It was a very sincere card. It wasn't even a jokey one. It was a really nice one. Then I had to go out at night, the night before, because I'd left no time to go and get anything. And I went into the supermarket, and I don't know if this happens in the US, but over here, if you go the night before Valentine's Day, it's full of construction workers in high-vis jackets crowded round the what's left of the flower stall, these wilting sad offerings that are left, and then they're bunched around the card stand as well. Plus there was me trying to get a card for Dave, so thoughtfully chosen from the few rank ones that were left with no fitting envelopes.
So had you and Dave not discussed Valentine's Day in advance? Maybe that's what happened?
Yeah, we discuss it every year, and it goes like this. Let's not do Valentine's Day this year. Him, well, I definitely want to do Valentine's Day. It's really nice. Why can't you just be like everyone else? Me. Me. Oh, it's so pointless. It's so stupid. Okay, I'll do it. Then also me. Shit, I've forgotten Valentine's Day again. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan.
It's just fine.
But I have something for you.
Do you, Jilly? You shouldn't have. Is that a real rose, Jilly?
It's actually real.
Is that from Dave?
Yeah.
I have a recycled rose for my Valentine.
I feel it's what he'd want.
That's sweet, Jilly. Thank you, Jilly.
Let's stick it in here for a special Valentine's plant.
Now I know how much you love me.
Happy Valentine's.
Thanks,
True.
Joey. So before we get any further, actually, Joey, I want to tell you a couple of British jokes.
You know I love it when you do your British jokes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
So,
ready.
Joey, the guards at Big Ben must be so tired. They're always
Why?
working around the clock.
Oh! That was my tumbleweed.
Thanks. One more for you. In the US, we call them elevators. In the UK, they call them lifts. I guess we're all just raised a little differently.
I like that one. I like that one. Yeah. Okay, that one gets the lol.
Thanks a lot. So,
Welcome.
Jilly, you mentioned that it's hard to get okay. To what extent does your viewpoint of you not loving Valentine's Day, do you think reflects the British mindset?
Oh no, most people in Britain love it. They cannot get enough of it. They cannot get enough of the ridiculous consumerism. And I'm not joking, it gets worse every year here. So like when I was younger, I must tell you about when I was little actually, in Valentine's Day, remind me. But when I was younger, it used to just be like Valentine's cards. And then I don't know what's happened since then. It's like every year, your expression of undying love on that 14th of February has to get bigger. So then it's like the cards got bigger. Then it was like a card wasn't enough. There had to be flowers or chocolates with it as well. And then that wasn't enough. And now, I'm not even joking. You go into every store at the moment and there are like literally heart-shaped cushions, mugs with hearts all over them, heart towels with hearts all over them, tea towels with hearts all over them, dishcloths with hearts all over them. Like, it's Valentine-tastic in our supermarkets right now. Obviously, they're all on sale today because it's a very short window of opportunity to get those out the door. But it gets bigger every day, every year rather. Like massive Valentine cuddly toys, and also like it's not just the card now; it's the card and the gift, and it's not just the card and the gift now; it's the card, the gift, and you have to like obviously probably in about March last year would have had to make a table reservation for February this year. And then it's like getting even worse than that. I literally have a friend who's going away this weekend for a Valentine's weekend. Like people, that's ridiculous. No, this is ridiculous. My thoughts.
Jelly, I get so something I read just researching for today's show is that opinions in the UK about Valentine's Day may be somewhat geographically based. And more specifically, I read that, London and Northern Ireland are 73% of folks are going to do something for Valentine's Day. But for those living in Yorkshire and the Midlands, only 35% of people did anything to commemorate Valentine's Day this year. And I guess I wanted to ask, what do you think could be going on there?
Well, there are two.
What's Yorkshire and the Midlands? What are they different kinds of people? They different mindsets, attitudes than what you've described?
Do you know what I would say? I think there's two possible explanations for this. One is that us, and I class myself as a London base, so us down here in the south of the country, London, southeast, southwest, are ridiculous and will literally sell our souls for any kind of public holiday / made up holiday. And maybe the people north of Watford, as we like to say, maybe they just have a little bit more sense and see through the ridiculous consumerism of it. Or it could be tied into the very factual wealth difference between the north and the south of England.
Disposable
which
income?
There has been for a long time. Yeah, there's a different disposable income between the north and the south, and I think that gap hasn't closed. So I wonder if that's kind of reflected in that
a bit of just necessity of like how budgeting happens. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, could be that, couldn't it? But I mean, I don't know. I guess that wouldn't affect like whether you get a card or not, but I don't know.
We'll talk more about cards in a bit, Jilly. So tell us about Valentine's Day for you as a wee lass. How are you introduced to it? What stories do you have?
Yeah. So when I was young, I can remember from the age of about maybe 7, from the age of about 7 till the age of maybe like 12, 13, getting a Valentine's Day card sent to my house every year. And it always just had a question mark inside. So really like that. I mean, don't get me started on that fact that that's what Valentine's, sorry, I've just wiggled you. That's what Valentine's cards should be. Like they should be anonymous. They're supposed to be for like people to like send. It was never supposed to be for people who are already in a relationship to send cards to each other.
It seems to evolve. Like I read that also as being the tradition of it's anonymous.
Absolutely. So I would get a card every year from, like I say, between those ages with just this big question mark inside. And like beginning, like the first few years, obviously I was just so very excited about that. Clearly I had a secret admirer and I never knew who it was. But then as I got older, like maybe towards 12, 13, I kind of had this crushing, overwhelming realization that it was clearly my mum sending it to me every year. And I remember just this, I'd been so in love with the idea that I had this secret admirer that was sending me a Valentine's Day card. I mean, why this secret admirer wasn't making themselves known in between this annual event, I don't know. I don't know what I put that down to. But yeah, but the thing is, my mum never admitted it to the day she died. Like that is extreme cover up. I feel like she should have given up the truth. Or was it not her?
What I think is most interesting about this is that it's kind of like Father Christmas, a little bit. That there's a bit of play acting.
Yes, I think you're right. And maybe it just I feel like she took it too far. Like by the time I hit 40, and she just couldn't go back.
Now, was Valentine's Day a part of school? Did you have Valentine's Day stuff in school?
Yes, definitely. So at school, it was like, well, how many Valentine's cards did you get?
So you got everyone passes out, everyone comes in with a stack of Valentine's cards for everyone. So
it was still done secretly. You were just kind of like, when I was at school, it was still anonymous. So again, you didn't know who they were from, but you would like open your desk. Because I'm 56 this year, so I still had like a desk that opened up like that. Do you know what I mean? And like you'd open up your desk and they'd be like, oh, there's a card in it.
We would come in with shoe boxes that were, glammed out. It would be our Valentine's card box. But
that's a whole new level.
Every year, I mean, from the ages of, 5. Did we do them up through 8th grade? I don't know. But no, it was. It was really.
I love the idea of a glammed up shoebox.
Yeah,
to hold all your cards.
Yeah, there's all kinds of heart stickers on them and stuff. Speaking of hearts, I read that in the Middle Ages, young men and women drew names from a bowl to see who their Valentines would be, and they would wear it. And I think what this was that it was tied to more like, well, we just got to match people up together so they have kids. But the men would draw their Valentine's name and then put they put a card on their sleeve for 1 week. And that's where the expression to wear your heart
on your
sleeve comes from.
Yeah. I feel like it's a worrying story, that one, because I'm not sure consent was too much of a thing back in the Middle Ages.
No, of course not.
So it's like, yeah. I have my heart on my sleeve. Come hither, maiden.
Jill, I was reading an article about Valentine's Day cards and ran into this topic sentence. From naff cards to ostentatious flower bouquets, St. Valentine's Day may be cheesy, but there's no doubt many people love it. What does naff mean?
Do you not say naff?
I don't know. I've never heard that word.
What? Really? So something is naff when it's like, so you guys would probably say it's somewhere between rubbish and cheesy.
Okay.
So something is naff if it's like lame. Oh, that's what you would say. You would say lame.
Lame. Okay.
Yeah, it's our equivalent of lame. Yeah.
Jilly, so how much does a dozen roses run across the pond? You can tell me in pounds.
I don't know. I've never bought a dozen roses, but I'm guessing it's probably around the 30 to 40 pounds mark. So maybe getting up to $50 for Valentine's Day. I mean, obviously much cheaper on any other day of the year, but
you really nailed it. This year, a bouquet of red roses in the UK went for about 40 pounds, but by next year, it's expected that they'll cost closer to 50 pounds because of the phased introduction of post-Brexit customs changes on goods coming from Europe.
Oh, great. Another fabulous fallout from Brexit.
So I learned about British economics this week while preparing for today's show.
I love it. Tom, can I just say your
please.
level of research that goes into the questions that you come up with for me is so good. I love, and also I fall in love every time with the things that you find like interesting about the UK. It's always the most random things. I love it. It's my favorite.
Jilly, from an article titled 14 of the best romantic things to do in the UK this Valentine's Day. One of the listed activities is to go punting in Cambridge. Jill, what's punting?
Yeah.
What's punting?
Now, so I can tell you a story about punting in Cambridge, in that very town. So you know where Cambridge is, right? So we have two big universities. So the equivalent of your Harvard, I guess, would be we have Oxford and Cambridge. So those are our two very elite universities. The cream of the crop go to those universities. And the River Cam runs through Cambridge, and it runs through the university. So the campus is kind of is all through the city. Cambridge is a really ancient city, and it's kind of, I don't know if ancient's the right word, it's a really old city. So, this isn't like you'd imagine a modern university campus. This is old, very like medieval buildings, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the river runs through part of the campus. And one of the things that in the summer is really popular is that there are lots of punts on the Cam, which is a boat. So I want you to think it's kind of a bit like a gondola in Venice. The long, like a long, thin boat-ish, but not quite as long and not quite as thin. But what makes it a punt is that the person, you get in, and then the person isn't rowing, they're standing up with a big pole.
Is it the kick off? Is that part of it?
They'll kick off, from the bank, and then they got this big stick that goes in, and then they push like that and punt. That's punting along the river. Okay. Very quintessentially British summertime activity, going back through the ages.
But they'll do it during the colder months too.
Yes, they do, because I used to go punting in Cambridge every December, because when I worked back in insurance, I would always take, there would be an Insurance Institute dinner that would always be held at Cambridge, at King's College in Cambridge, which is beautiful. Oh, just amazing place. And We used to the problem is everyone would have so much wine, and then they would bring students. So all of the punts are done by the students. It's a way for them to make a bit of money while they're at university. So they would bring some students in to punt, and there'd be all these people in their ball gowns and men in their black tie standing by the river, which you can imagine that riverbank in December would be quite slippery. And and on more than one occasion, I have ended up like waist deep in the December river trying to get into the punt and then slightly missing it. Because the problem is they would do it really late at night. We would do it like 10 o'clock at night. And by that time, the free wine had been flowing. There was no way I was ever going to make it in.
And you can't see.
You couldn't see. It was treacherous. I tell you what, health and safety would have a field day with it today. Probably don't do it anymore for that reason. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
So, I mean, I think of the word punting, and it like as in. So I don't know. I mean, like.
So we have a couple of ways we use that word. Actually,
how else do you use it?
So punting as a verb. Actually, there's two ways you use the verb. So punting as in doing the boat, but also to take a punt on something is to like take a chance on it or have a bet on it. Take a punt. I'm going to take a punt on it. And that would be like, I'll bet you it will be. I'll take a punt on that.
Interesting, because it is very much not that, I would say, in US slang, which punt, it may be tied to its use in sports and specifically American football, of when you punt, the team is like, well, we don't want to give up the ball now. So instead, we're going to kick it really far, and the team has to run it from back there instead of where we are now. So then to say to punt on something, yeah. So then to say to punt on something is to essentially be like, I'll deal with this later.
No, we don't even use that in that. See, this is why I love doing these episodes, because you find out so many things are different. So I did not know that. Never heard of it used like that. Rebecca. I take a punt on Jules. Well, thank you.
Also, I learned that there's a most romantic city in the UK.
Oh.
Do you have any guesses?
I'm going to try. Most romantic city. Gosh. I mean, for some reason, York came to my mind, but I don't know. I don't think it's that. Could be Bath. No. Can I have one more guess?
Please.
Is it in England or in the UK?
I'm pretty sure it's England, but I'm not an expert there, so we'll see. So maybe your guess doesn't. I'll give you another one.
Okay, I'm going to do one more guess. Stratford-upon-Avon.
Nope. Good guess. I see where you make.
Yeah, but, I was thinking maybe a bit of Shakespeare.
This year, Bristol was named as the most romantic city in the UK ahead of Valentine's Day. And here's the story.
They talk like that.
Bristolians buy more romance novels than any other city in the UK, according to a new study.
Adorbs.
The study done by Amazon Books UK, they buy more romance books than any other UK city. Also, an Amazon spokesperson said that the city is known for romantic hotspots like Clifton Observatory. You laugh. Does that mean you disagree?
It just sounds like a doubtful place to be a really romantic hotspot. I don't know.
This also that Bristol is known for the friendly phrase, "All right, my lover." Is that something people say?
I will do a beautiful example. They say, "All right, my lover." They talk like that because they come from the West Country.
It sounds closer to Ireland. I mean, it sounds a little more, like any. Would you say it's en route to the Irish vernacular? I mean, like dialect?
No, literally
Okay.
nothing like it. Sorry.
But this study, which is based on both print books and ebooks, bought in 2023, put Edinburgh in second place.
I was going to say Edinburgh. You know, when I said, is it England or is it UK? I was going to go for Edinburgh. So I would have been closer with that one. And Edinburgh, I think Edinburgh is a romantic city. Edinburgh is beautiful. Yeah, that
My
makes
big
sense.
touchstone for Edinburgh is a lot of comedy festivals are there. So
Yes,
it's
the
often an
Edinburgh
influx.
Fringe.
Festival.
Yeah.
Have you been?
Yeah. Oh, Tone, you would love that. When you come over to the UK so that we can do, maybe we'll do US all day in the UK, then we have to go to Edinburgh and you have to go to the when the Fringe is on. You would absolutely love it. There's so much improv, so much stand up, so much just musicians. It's a really good place to be in the summer. Yeah, love Edinburgh.
So Jilly, tell us about a memorable Valentine's Day or two that you've maybe experienced.
A memorable Valentine's Day or two. Oh, well, Dave and I a couple of years ago did go to this really nice hotel called Milsom's, which this is going to sound really lame / naff, but it's literally like 3 miles from where we live. But it's so nice. So we went there for a Valentine's and decided we were going to make a night of it. So we booked in for a room and they were doing this Valentine's special offer. And so when we got there, there was like a red rose, there was chocolates, a bottle of champagne, all of which we consumed before going down for our 4-course dinner, which was a definite mistake. And obviously we had so much, and then we ordered like more wine and beer, etc. And it got to the point where it was so embarrassing because we couldn't really eat any of the food that we would do. I don't know if you did this when you were a kid and your mum was telling you to eat your dinner and you would try and kind of hide the dinner on the plate under other bits of dinner to try and make it look. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm going to just quickly tuck the mashed potato under the steak, so at least it looks like I've eaten a bit of it. And then
you've done work
we
to
had a
clear
really
your
romantic
plate, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And then we had a super romantic night of basically collapsing because we'd consumed too much good food and alcohol. But it was a good Valentine's. That's our kind of idea of fun.
I hear you, Jillian.
was good.
One specific difference, and I think that's going to lead me to sort of some cultural exploration, seemingly between the US and the UK when it comes to Valentine's Day, is that I think from what I've read, y'all are less afraid to be blue than I think than I think Americans are.
What is that? What do you mean?
And specifically on the topic of greeting cards.
Oh, blue, as in like rude,
not naughty,
as in sad.
Crass.
Yeah, naughty. Oh God, we're filth over here. Literally, we are filth. Honestly,
what's that about?
Have the rudest sense of humor. I don't know. I think we are. It's almost like, and I think this is getting worse as well. I think it's almost like there's not, like, we cannot be shocked in this country anymore by humor. We just can't be shocked. So it just gets worse and worse. And like, you can get the most rude cards. It's, you know.
I mean, so this article was pointing out that stores will be filled with cards like, "You make my willy go big."
Oh yeah,
"I bloody love you. Now let's get naked." You're
have cards like that in the US then?
Less, considerably less. Like, as in, no. I don't know. My experience with the US as a greeting card nation is a lot more sincerity. I mean, I remember being a kid and seeing there would be cards of like, like a lady on the back of a motorcycle wearing a thong, but and that was kind of its own iteration of card or postcard. But
Right.
you know, I don't know. I think what also sucks is I don't know how much this happens over there, but cards that are premised on making fun of people getting old.
Oh, yeah, loads of those over here. Oh, what, for birthday cards, you mean?
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
you'd have to do that.
like cards with like 1,000 candles on them and like the fire brigade on the way and all of that kind of thing. Yeah, standard.
I guess
I think,
Jill,
but over here,
no.
you see, I think we have a harsh sense of humor over here. We really are we do have quite a mean sense of humor in the UK. And I
What do
think
you
that's
think that
always
is?
been something.
What do
I
you think
don't
that
know,
is?
but I don't know, but I do think it's always been the one thing that where UK and US people struggle, because I think our sense of humor is it can be really dry and really quite harsh and yeah, not nice actually. I do think maybe it's becoming less so, just because I think we are all waking up a little bit to the example you just gave, taking the mickey out of people. Do you use that expression, taking
What
the
does
mickey
that
out?
mean?
Making fun of people.
Okay, what's a Mickey?
Yeah, we
So then
say
what's a
we say
what's a
we call it taking the mickey out of someone. It means if you're going to you're making fun of someone. If you
so
said
there is no
I'm just
original
taking the
Mickey.
mickey. No, I don't know. I'm trying to think if it's because a lot of our sayings like that come from Cockney rhyming slang.
Which is
Do
its
you know what
own
Cockney
bizarre, confusing thing that I know there's a pattern and it's organized and how it's put
Yeah.
together.
So
But I listened to
taking
one
the
podcast on it.
mickey,
But
I think we
no,
should do a full podcast, and I'll research as well. And we can do a full research into Cockney rhyming slang. It's so fascinating. But so, for example, taking the mickey probably has an origin of taking the Michael, and where Michael is probably rhyming slang for cycle or something like that. I don't know, but basically,
that's where the wheels fall off for me. Cycle hop.
Hey.
Of like, it seems like someone just had to come up with something that didn't make logical sense at some moment. And that's where I think I get lost.
Yeah, but here's a good example. So if we're going out for curry, we'll always say we're going out for Ruby.
And is that a Cockney rhyming origin? Is that?
Yeah, Ruby Murray curry.
Yeah, see, I do not see the logic there.
And sometimes like this is often referred to, or not so much these days, but as a dog and bone phone.
Really? A smartphone? Is that what you mean?
Not these days, but it's a phone.
Okay.
So a dog and bone. And like when we go like the stairs, Dave says this all the time to me. Come on then, up the apples and pears at night, which is up the stairs.
This is why why I'm a little terrified of my trip to see you, of like that I will have to hold your hand. Like I'm afraid of
it's okay.
Yeah.
I will not let anything bad happen to you, and I will make sure that I am translating for you at all times. It's okay.
I do know that if you want lettuce and tomato on your sandwich, you say I'll have salad. Right?
Yeah, or you could say I'll have lettuce and tomato, please.
Cool. Great. That still works. Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, like a chicken salad sandwich would expect it to have chicken, lettuce, cucumber, and tomato in.
Sure.
You just expect that to be what is in a chicken salad sandwich.
We wouldn't include cucumber as a default. Here it's a mayonnaise chicken. There may be raisins, there may be celery, but like no
raisins?
Cucumbers. Yeah.
Raisins?
Chicken salad gets a little weird sometimes, and I think the raisins kind of is not great for the chicken salad. I want it to be I want the milkiest chicken salad experience. But I get the cucumber because it adds crunch and texture.
Yeah,
But like, I guess Yeah. I don't. Yeah. No. Onion. I don't think cucumber. Like, as in, I think of all the chicken salad I've eaten over the years, and I don't think cucumber has never been a default. But y'all,
I
I mean,
feel like
like,
cucumber's quite a British thing, though, isn't it? Because, like, do you remember? I remember you asking me once if we still ate cucumber sandwiches. So that was like a
yes,
medieval, like a Victorian thing. And like, whilst we don't eat sandwiches just with cucumber in now, or not in the circles I move in, maybe you do in the upper echelons, but yeah, you wouldn't just have a cucumber sandwich, but lots of sandwiches like tuna and cucumbers really popular. Yeah.
uh,
Mm.
some other from the Stoned Fruit StreamYard account, they share that other chicken salad accoutrements include cranberries, walnuts, grapes, apples, onions. Yeah, it
God,
gets
you
kind of
guys are so
fruity.
fancy.
I think it's a little extra. Like, I don't like walnuts. I kind of feel like I don't want the sweetness of fruit in my chicken salad.
Do you do you have coronation chicken in the US?
If we do, we call it something else. So what's coronation chicken?
It's a really common sandwich filler over here. So I guess it was a dish that was in honor of one of the coronations of one of our
Sure,
kings or queens.
tracks.
And but it's obviously stood the test of time because it's just a very common sandwich filling. And what it is it's chicken in like a mayonnaise that has kind of got curry powder running through it, and it has dried apricots in it, and funny enough, sultanas.
What's a sultana?
Oh, like a plumper raisin. So if you
Like a
imagine a
date?
grape,
Like a date?
no.
Not a
So
date?
you know, like a raisin is a dried grape.
Grape. Yeah.
And so is a sultana, but it's in between, like in the processing stage of going from a grape to a raisin. The sultana is kind of semi-dried, so it's still a little bit plump. But so it's bigger than a raisin, but smaller than a grape.
It's fun that there are different evolutions of grapes. You could do different things with them. That's neat.
There you go. Yeah, my
Now,
favorite is wine.
yeah,
We
it's a
do
good
that
one.
with grapes.
Uh,
Yeah.
So Jilly, what do you think you'll take Valentine's Day a little more seriously next year, or do you think you'll have the exact same exchange with Dave
You know
that
what?
happened this year?
I'm gonna surprise him next year. I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna plan something. I mean, obviously, I'll have to book it now. It's the 15th
Mhm.
of February. It's time to start booking for next year. So, but I think I might go all out. Let's revisit. Like this time next year, we have to do a like Valentine part 2 to see if I've upped my Valentine game. So, what would you suggest? How can I up my Valentine game without it being
Um,
naff?
what I think of any holiday as just being like the best excuse to just try a new awesome restaurant. You know, that's
Yeah,
sort
I
of
agree.
um
Mm,
what's
it's a good idea.
I guess what's the dining scene like right now? Like, what's exciting for you when it comes to UK dining right now?
Oh God, there's so much going on in London at the moment in terms of like craziness around dining. So we have restaurants where you dine in the dark, like
You
pitch
dine
black.
in the dark. Like, how
Okay,
dark?
pitch black. And it's literally, I think you're like, I genuinely think you're served by like people who can't see, like blind people do the serving and everything. It's a really niche restaurant, and basically you sit there and it's completely in the dark. So that's an example. There's another one which is, have you heard of a British TV show called Faulty Towers?
I know it's a famous was one of the writers or producers go on to produce Mr. Bean?
So it starred John Cleese.
Got it. Okay. Sure.
Okay, from like Monty
Yep.
Python fame.
Hmm.
So Faulty Towers was a sitcom.
About a hotel?
about a hotel. Husband and wife are running this hotel. They got a crazy waiter pops up and all that. And there's a Faulty Towers experience restaurant in London now, where basically, food gets tipped over you. He's always like, the owner just keeps shouting and everything. It's like so random. Oh, and another one that we have in London also is Karen's.
What's Karen's?
Basically, it's run, all of the waitress staff and waiting staff are Karens. So do you know what a Karen is? Like a woman who is like
a real busybody.
A busybody complainer. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's called Karen's. And basically you go there and they're just so rude to you.
Like, I was going to bring this up because
the concept is humor for you, isn't it? That's the difference between our humors, because we think that's hilarious.
There are a number of restaurants across the world. I've heard about these both being here in the US and Australia. That's the shtick of the people they're rude to you.
They're just rude to you. Yeah. Yep.
But I guess what's funny is that they have kind of put limits on what kind of rude they can be. Like, they can't be no body shaming, no ageism, like nothing sexist. So as in, it's kind of circumscribed.
I bet over here that there are no limits to it.
Which,
like, we're so mean.
I think it's funny that it's like, oh, you can be mean, but not that mean, or not this kind of
you can be a little bit mean about these certain prescribed subjects. Yeah, which is probably a good thing, because over here, like I say, we get a little too mean, I think.
Do you have escape rooms in the UK?
Yes, I love escape rooms.
You love escape rooms.
I love two favorite things I love to do: escape rooms and murder mystery nights. They're my favorite things.
So much so that you intentionally go to them like one or more times a year?
Maybe one of each a year, I would say.
Now, for the murder mystery, is it like a meal thing? Is it like dinner theater? What is it? Is it more like, I want to see how it squares up with what we do?
Yeah. So one that I did that was really memorable was a corporate entertainment one. So this was when I was back working in insurance. And as our kind of end of year celebration, we had this murder mystery night. So we all stayed in this gorgeous hotel, and they brought in actors to do the murder mystery with us. And we all were given parts to play and lines to read out and everything. But it was kind of facilitated by actors. It was really fun. It was really good.
Tell me about some escape rooms.
Escape rooms are hard. I really like doing them, but I'm not like the clever one that figures it out. I'm the one who gets really bossy and thinks they know how to figure it out and wastes loads of time until the person who actually can figure it out finally shouts loud enough at me to get me out of the way so that they can get us out of the room.
I think I would be useless in an escape room. Like, I'm too much of a pushover, and personality.
No, you would be that person. You would be the person that knew how to do it really quickly, but there's always some like idiot like me in front going, "No, I can do that. I know exactly how to do this. Stand back." No, you don't, Jill.
Jilly. So that's sort of everything I had planned for our discussion of Valentine's Day. I think we're going to call this one a little early.
I want to talk about your Valentine's Day. I haven't heard. Like, what did you do?
We did a pre-Valentine's Day of because it's Valentine's Day is also Rebecca's kid's birthday.
Yes,
so
of course.
As in,
happy birthday, Saturn, for yesterday.
I think, and I don't know. I get stressed out by Valentine's Day as a result, because it's also like kind of by our anniversary. So there's just so much smashed together.
Oh, the pressure. The pressure of too many things.
Yeah. But
do you love it or hate it, Valentine's? Like, do you see the point in it?
I think it can be really fun if you. I think it's fun to be into it with someone every now and again. Like when it there's a little, it can be real fun when you start dating someone, like that's cute.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose.
That's sweet.
I'm just not very romantic, I think. I think this is what we're discovering here on this Valentine's edition.
Mm.
I'm not a very romantic person.
Aw. But
Thanks,
so
Saturn.
we just did some fun times inside, just kind of, it's cold, it's winter.
Yeah.
Watch the new True Detective
Oh, with Jodie Foster.
with Jodie Foster. I didn't know how tiny she is.
It. Yeah, she's really tiny. Do you know what else I saw her in recently? Naiad. Brilliant.
Naiad. Is that like a geopolitical thriller?
It's a biopic of Diana Naiad, who swam from Cuba to Florida at the age of 65.
Wow.
But she did it for the first. She was the first person to successfully do it without a shark cage at the age of 65.
I thought I didn't understand, but then I understood you said shark cage. It's gonna be hard to swim in a shark cage.
Yeah. Well, it moves. No, because the shark cage is, I guess, fixed to the boat, isn't it? So you're swimming alongside.
So the boat is moving while you swim as well.
Yeah, like you're gonna have to keep up, otherwise the shark cage is gonna I don't know. But anyway, she didn't have a shark cage. I was talking to one of my clients about this, and she said, "You know what? I watched it and I was so inspired. I went swimming the next day."
That's fun.
Mm-hmm. Good start. Excellent.
Good start.
A couple of lengths.
I think also y'all appreciate swimming athletics more than maybe the US does, because they're swimming the English Channel.
Yeah. Swimming David Williams, I think it was, swam the Thames, which is just disgusting. The Thames is the dirtiest, grossest river that goes right through.
I would love to hear what he had to say about that experience, about dealing with the filth.
I think we need to Google that. I'm going to Google that actually after this, because it must have been absolutely gross. Like the Thames, I feel like when people come over to London, they get the edited highlights of London. But the things about London that really intrigue me are the bits that kind of take you back to what it would have been like in like Jack the Ripper times, and like really kind of that London, that really dark, sinister London in the East End, and where I find that fascinating is like in the center of London, like you could go next to Charing Cross or King's Cross stations. There'll be like the main road with all the shops and offices. You go through an alleyway and you're like at the Thames. There'll be a little pebbly beach bit. But it's so dirty and sinister, and it still looks really old and threatening, like it would have done back then. You wouldn't want to do it on your own. So the thought of swimming up there, no, gross. In London they do a Jack the Ripper tour. I want to do that.
Julie, how scholarly are you about Jack the Ripper? How do you know everything inside and out? And
no,
I guess my big
did.
question, like there's the canonical killings that are a tribute of like that. I think it's 4-ish maybe. And then there were a bunch of, and then what may have been copycats or just other people also doing nasty shit.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people say they think he was a doctor or like
that's
a surgeon.
What I've heard as well. Yeah. Like, I mean, to have that experience of knowing how to get all the bits out the way that he did.
Exactly. Now you think, maybe this could be our next episode on true crime. Yeah, Rebecca just said she loves how we've gone from Valentine's Day to Jack the Ripper.
I mean, he ripped out our hearts.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obsessed with true crime. I think if I went on Mastermind, like true crime might be my specialist chosen subject.
So tell us about your true crime. What's notable cases. Like, what have you been into lately?
Okay, so there's this podcast called Murder with My Husband.
Okay.
Anyone who's watching this, like, literally, it's the best true crime podcast. I love it. And so I'd like listen to that avidly. I subscribe to that, so I don't even have the adverts, and I get all of the
Oh, so
subscribers.
do you do a Patreon or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do it via Apple, but yeah, same thing.
Sure.
Oh my gosh, which cases stand out? Let me see. What have I been listening to recently? Well, let me just
take a look. See, if there were a thing in our hands.
With my most. So the most recent edition, how Ancestry website solved a cold case. Before that was the Pitchfork murder. Before that was who kidnapped the Lyon sisters. I mean, I'm going to tell. Oh yeah. Dr. Death. Oh, the Golden Daughter. That was a really good one. Right. This girl, this is an American. They're all in America, mostly in America. And this girl who was the Golden Daughter, she basically didn't want to tell her parents that she dropped out of college. So she pretended that she was still going. And then as the lie began to unravel, clearly the only way out was murder the parents. Like, that blows my mind. At what point are you like, maybe I'll just run away? Nah, I'll just murder them.
A category of murder is the family annihilator.
Yes. Oh, yes. I've listened to lots of podcast episodes about family annihilators, which, can I say, is a complete American term. We don't even have a term for that over here. Family annihilator.
I think, I mean, I've heard it, in the last couple of years. There was a podcast covering John List, who murdered his family, like his four kids, wife, and mother-in-law.
Yes, I think I've listened to one of those about that.
A brutal fun fact about him is when just being a normal guy, he would wear a full suit while he mowed the yard. He was a real whack job.
That's crazy. Oh, please, can we do a true crime episode?
100%.
I love it.
Jilly, are you familiar with Israel Keys?
Yes.
How he would fly to a city,
literally terrifying.
Rent a car with cash, drive somewhere else. And you've never heard of him because he made a deal with the FBI that they would never publish shit about him. Right.
I mean, and yet he was like one of the most prolific serial killers, wasn't he?
It's debate. There's a lot of debate. There's a whole podcast devoted to him called True Crime Bullshit. That covers just Israel Keys, and it uses all of like his FBI interviews and stuff. So you'll hear hours and hours of Keys. Just talks like a regular 30-something dude.
There's a Crime Tape Confessions episode on him as well, where they show the footage.
Yeah.
Why are we so interested in this?
I know. I mean,
Dave gets really worried. He thinks that I'm like researching for a like murdering him project.
I mean, the most baseline compelling explanation I've run into is that there's something about it being the experience and thrill of danger without actually being in danger.
Oh God, that makes complete sense, doesn't it? And it's morbid fascination as well.
Yeah, I mean, like you would never want to talk to someone who goes through this stuff, have this happen to your family members, but no,
absolutely, it's horrifying to think.
It's horrifying.
But it's the same reason we're compelled to look at a car accident as we drive past it. For some reason, there's some kind of morbid fascination.
There's an advocacy group that really brought out some shame in me because the organization is called Mine. Murder is not entertainment.
Oh no, I haven't. Oh, don't plant that in my head. I haven't even heard of that. Please let it still be entertainment for me. I mean,
I know, right?
The murder, but the telling of the stories. I
Yeah.
want to be on it. Yeah.
Oh, Saturn, we'll have you on. Let's get
Definitely.
spooky.
Can I just come back to Valentine's for a minute because I've forgotten that I can do
Please.
this.
Oh, so
Did you see it?
I sure did, Jelly.
Oh,
Yeah,
you got.
and I don't know what these effects are. Like, if they're tied to a Mac thing,
I think it's a
or
Mac thing. Yeah,
think
I think it's a
yeah.
Mac thing. It's not a
Um,
Zoom thing, I don't think.
and I'm curious if you can disable them, like, because I love them, but
I love them too
I
much
wouldn't
to
want
even
them.
think about
I don't
that.
know. I could see myself being in a business meeting.
What, and
And
accidentally doing that?
yeah. Oh, that's so cute. It's
That's
like
a
American
great
Beauty.
idea, Joe.
How do you see? It doesn't work for me.
Aw. Yeah, because I think you might be too bunched.
Too bunched.
No. Put the thumbs down.
I did it.
You
I did it. I did it.
did it.
It's a Valentine's Day miracle.
This is
Cool.
literally gold for anyone watching. I just feel like the gamut of topics we have covered today, like there is something here for everybody.
Good breath. Real good.
Good breath,
Jilly,
for sure.
how we call it a day on this edition of UK All Day?
If we have to.
Yeah, you've been the
I'll miss
best, and I
you.
love you so much.
I love you. Happy
Thanks
Valentine's.
for telling me. Thanks. Yep. Thanks for telling me everything that I didn't know.
That was odd, but I think I fixed it. Sorry about that. I accidentally turned my Wi-Fi off. Let us try that again. If I can get it open. Here we go. Sorry about that.
I don't know. I don't know how
The
to do
thumbs
this.
are meant to be making the bottom bit. Put the thumbs down.
I did it. I did it. I did it.
You did it.
It's a Valentine's Day miracle.
This is
Cool.
literally gold for anyone watching. I just feel like the gamut of topics we have covered today, like there is something here for everybody.
Good breath. Real good.
Good breath,
Jilly,
for sure.
how we call it a day on this edition of UK All Day?
If we have to.
Yeah, you've been the
I'll
best,
miss
and I
you.
love you so much.
I love you. Happy
Thanks
Valentine's.
for telling me. Thanks. Yep. Thanks for telling me everything that I didn't know, and now I know, and you're amazing.
And now you know. By the person who is anti-Valentine.
Anti-Valentine. Cool. We'll follow up next year, and you can tell me how you've given Dave
I'm
the
upping my
shocker.
Valentine game now.
Good.
I've been
Looking forward to it.
V-shamed.
V-shamed. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Thanks, folks. Let's call it. Bye.
Let's call it. Bye.
All right, I'm sorry about our little mishap there, but I hope you enjoyed that episode, and I will see you guys next week.